Hi all, it's Mark from Highrise Digital here. Now you're probably watching this video because you build WordPress websites. Maybe you're a WordPress developer, maybe you're a WordPress editor or author. And we've been using WordPress for over 10 years now, and throughout that time we've come across a number of WordPress plugins. Plugins add functionality to WordPress that we have found super useful, and I thought in this video I would share the 16 plugins that we use the most when we're building WordPress websites. So here goes. So I'm going to start with the first one here, which is Advanced Custom Fields Pro. Now this is probably the most used plugin that we use pretty much on every website. It is a very popular plugin in the community, and what it allows you to do is very easily edit the admin screens in WordPress. So for example, the post edit screen in WordPress, you can change that, you can add custom things to it to make it much easier for website users to edit their content. It also enables you in the current climate to add custom blocks to the WordPress block editor. So here's a simple example on our website where we've customized the admin screen of writing a project, and that's really quick to do, really easy to do, and works really well. So that's Advanced Custom Fields Pro. Next one, if you write forms, you have forms on your website. Most sites that we build have a contact form at the very least. Some have much more than that. They have forms which form an integral part of the website's functionality. For example, job application forms, or we have sites that have holiday request forms, etc. We use Gravity Forms, which is a paid product. It's I think it's $30 for a single site license, and it's a very easy way of building up forms. So this is an example of one of the forms on our side. It gives you a drag and drop builder for the forms where you can add different fields. It also enables you to provide things like conditional logic, so show only these fields if such a value is selected from this field. And it is so extensible and flexible that it allows us to do lots of really cool things. It also has a good notification system. We can integrate with different software such as Slack and Trello and a whole host of other ones, including things like mailing lists, etc. So Gravity Forms is a really good, solid forms plugin that I would highly recommend if you're dealing with forms. Moving on then to the next one, a really simple plugin that I like because it does one job really well. It's the Disable Comments plugin in WordPress. It does what it says on the tin. We build lots of sites where they want sort of a news rather than a blog, and they don't want the discussion on the website. So simply adding this, setting it up, turns comments off in WordPress. Nice and simple. In a similar vein, the next one is the Disable Emojis plugin. Now this is a plugin that stops WordPress from loading some of the additional scripts and styles that are needed for older browsers to use emojis, and this just turns those off if that's something that you don't want to support, which is usually handy. Next on the list is the Limit Login Attempts Reloaded plugin. So if you've got a user or a bot that's attacking your login page, trying to log in to force a login with attempting various different combinations of usernames and passwords, etc., this is going to stop that happening on a defined number of login attempts for that particular user. So usually I set this at 3, so it gives someone the chance to get it wrong twice if they're a genuine user, but then on the third time they'll be locked out and they won't be able to visit that page. So it saves server resources and stops brute force attacks, or helps stop brute force attacks. So I recommend the Limit Login Attempts Reloaded plugin. Nice and simple, really easy to set up. Similarly, on a security sort of front, the Force Strong Passwords plugin does exactly what it says on the tin. It forces users to use a strong password in the back end. Now, WordPress has a built-in strength meter, which is very good, but you can easily bypass that by checking a button, and this forces users to have a strong password. Next on the list is about email deliverability. Now, if you've got a WordPress website that relies heavily on having emails being delivered, for example, you have a job board and you need to send applications to somewhere, you have a WooCommerce site that needs to send emails about purchases and so forth, then those are really important. So we would always recommend letting a third-party service handle those emails rather than WordPress, or more importantly, the server which WordPress sits on. We use Mailgun for this. It's really good, it's really cheap, and it's really easy to set up. And basically every time WordPress sends an email, it sends it through the Mailgun system, which actually does the sending of the email rather than the server, and it's really good. They've also got a WordPress plugin, which is here, which enables you to add this to WordPress. You put in your API connection details and a few other bits and bobs. It is fairly straightforward to set up, and therefore that's it. All your emails being sent from WordPress now go through Mailgun. It's also great for logging. You can tell whether someone's actually been delivered the email, whether they've opened it, etc. It's a really good system. So if you've got a site that relies heavily on emails, I would highly recommend some sort of transactional email service, and Mailgun is a really good option. I've talked about this next one before. It's the Query Monitor plugin. If you're a developer for WordPress and you develop sites, I always have this set up locally. It enables me to give some simple information. So if you look on, this is a site where it's installed on. You can see the admin bar here. I've got lots of information about what API calls are being made, what transients are being updated, what scripts and styles are loaded in, what queries are taking place, and it kind of pops up at the bottom here and you can see all the different information. It is a really, really sound plugin for developers, and I would highly recommend that if you are developing WordPress websites, you get the Query Monitor plugin installed locally when you're developing. Next one is perhaps one of the most popular WordPress plugins there is. As you can see, it has 5 million integrations or installations, should I say, of the Yoast SEO plugin. It provides a framework for your SEO. It doesn't do SEO out of the box. It just gives you the tools to start managing your SEO and improving your website in terms of a search engine optimization rank. So it's probably a good starting point, allowing you to change the obvious things, title tags, meta tags, and social sharing images and text as well. Back to the security front, we'd recommend the TwoFactor plugin, and this is TwoFactor Authentication for your WordPress website. So it allows you to add TwoFactor Authentication to the users on your WordPress site. So when they log in, they will not only be asked to add a username and password, they will be asked to add an authentication key as well, such as the Google Authenticator app or so forth. So this is my blog, and if I log into my blog here, I put my username and password in, and then I'm asked for the authentication code, and I'm into the website. So that's how that works. Rather than just having the username and password, it's based on the principle of something you have and something you know, rather than just something you know. So I'd highly recommend that on your website. Next one, great little plugin from Mark Jaquith, which is the Page Links To plugin. It basically means you can point a WordPress page to another URL, whether it's another website or whether it's another URL on your own site. Really simple to set up, really easy to use, and sometimes it's been really helpful to us when we've been setting up sites. Particularly allowing you to keep a page in a hierarchy but having it linked to something else, maybe a custom post type archive or a category archive which doesn't sit in a hierarchy. So that's really useful to have. An old favourite, registered users only. This is a great plugin. It does exactly what it says on the tin. You have a staging site. In our case, you don't want the world to be able to see this. You just put this on the staging site, give the user a WordPress login, and they can only see the site if they log into WordPress first. I would highly recommend that for things like staging sites, letting clients see things that you don't want the world to see. Next one is regenerate thumbnails. So WordPress has the ability for you to create different image sizes so that every time you upload something into the WordPress media library, WordPress will generate a number of different sizes of that same image. Now that's great, but if you change those sizes halfway through a project, those new sizes are not retrofitted to the images that are already uploaded. They're only actioned on the images that you will upload from that point onwards. What this plugin does is it goes back to all of the images you've already added and it regenerates them to the latest image sizes in your project. So that's a really good plugin to do that sort of job. Something we use quite a lot actually. Nearly there now. Next one is a plugin called Insanity, which prevents users from uploading really huge images onto your website. So a lot of people just grab an image off a camera or off a phone and upload that straight to WordPress. And that image can be 10, 12 megabytes if it's come off like an iPhone 11 that's got a great camera on it. There's just no need to have that on your web server. It takes up too much space, and therefore you can basically stop users from doing that. Here's the settings screen. So I've basically said here, don't allow images that are, prevent images that are bigger than 2048 pixels. That doesn't stop them uploading the larger image, but what it does is it recreates the image at that size and then deletes the original. So it just means that your media library isn't going to grow massively into sort of gigabytes of space, taking up space on the web server which you just don't need. Last but not least, this is something we use a lot with building recruitment integrations, is the WP Job Manager plugin. This provides you with a flexible, extensible job board for your WordPress website. Great for recruiters and great for anyone that's offering obviously lots of jobs in their organisation. It gives you a job listings page, it gives you a single jobs page, and there's lots of add-ons and things for it that you might want to take advantage of. So if you're wanting to add a job board functionality to your website, the WP Job Manager is a very, very good starting point. So there you have it, 16 plugins that Highrise Digital use the most at the moment and have used for the past and used quite a lot of. So what do you think? Have I missed something off? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this sort of stuff, then please consider liking this button and also subscribe to this channel for more stuff about WordPress coming in the near future. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that and we'll see you soon.